I want to remind you, and we're going back super far, 9 years, to Glenn Greenwald's days at Salon.com. This is from 2010. Throughout this year, I've devoted substantial attention to WikiLeaks, particularly in the last 4 weeks, as calls for its destruction intensified. To understand why I've done so, and to see what motivates the increasing devotion of the U.S. government and those influenced by it, destroying the organization, it's well worth reviewing exactly what WikiLeaks exposed to the world just in the last year. The breadth of the corruption, deceit, brutality, and criminality on the part of the world's most powerful factions. And again, this was written in 2010. As revealing as the disclosures themselves are, the reactions to them have been equally revealing. The vast bulk of the outrage has been devoted not to the crimes that have been exposed, but rather to those who exposed them, WikiLeaks and allegedly Bradley Manning, who later transitioned to Chelsea Manning. A consensus quickly emerged in the political and media class that they are evil villains who must be severely punished, while those responsible for the acts they revealed are guilty of nothing. The reaction has not been weakened at all, even by the Pentagon's own admission that, in stark contrast to its own actions, there is no evidence, zero, that any of WikiLeaks' actions has caused even a single death. Meanwhile, the American establishment media, even in the face of all these revelations, continues to insist on the contradictory Orwellian platitudes that A, there's nothing new in anything disclosed by WikiLeaks, and B, WikiLeaks has done grave harm to American national security through its disclosures. That's what I was describing to you in the beginning of this stream. That just because something is deemed classified or of national security doesn't automatically mean it is a real national security threat. And in a way, what is more of a threat? Releasing these war crimes that I'm about to remind you of? Or depriving people of knowing they're existing in the first place? How are you going to make sure that they don't continue to happen if nobody knows they're happening in the first place? That's the point of whistleblowing. That's the point of real journalism. It's unsurprising that political leaders would want to convince people that the true criminals are those who expose acts of high-level political corruption and criminality, rather than those who perpetrate them. Every political leader would love for that self-serving piety to take hold. But what's starting is how many citizens, and especially journalists now, vehemently believe that as well. In light of what WikiLeaks has revealed to the world about numerous governments, just fathom the authoritarian mindset that would lead a citizen, and especially a journalist, to react with anger that these things have been revealed, to insist that these facts should have been kept concealed and it'd be better if we didn't know, and most of all to demand that those who made us aware of it all be punished, the true criminals, while those who did these things, the good authorities, shielded. And here he puts just a barrage of what WikiLeaks released. WikiLeaks releases video depicting U.S. forces killing of 2 Reuters journalists in Iraq. Ha, I hit him. Top secret video showing U.S. helicopter pilots gunning down 12 civilians in Baghdad attack leaked online. Iraq war log, secret order that let U.S. ignore abuse. Mistreatment of helpless prisoners by Iraqi security forces included beatings, burning, electrocution, and rape. Iraq war logs reveal 15,000 previously unlisted civilian deaths. Clinton ordered American diplomats to spy on UN officials. Obama and GOPers worked together to kill Bush torture probe. How's that for hope and change? U.S. maneuvered to stop high court cases. American embassy issued threats over the cases of Guantanamo, Quozo, and CIA flights. Politicians and Spanish prosecutors collaborated on this strategy. U.S. pressured Germany not to prosecute CIA officers for torture and rendition. Cables show Germany caved to pressure from Washington. Yemeni president lied about U.S. strikes. Yemeni President Ali Abdullah Saleh admits lying to his own people by pretending that U.S. military strikes against al-Qaeda are carried out by Yemeni forces, according to a leaked U.S. document. Contrary to public statements, Obama administration fueled conflict in Yemen. The U.S. was shipping arms to Saudi Arabia for use in northern Yemen, even as it denied any role in the conflict. And the Yemen genocide goes on today. India tortured Kashmir prisoners. The International Committee of the Red Cross sent evidence to U.S. diplomats about widespread torture by Indian security forces in Kashmir, according to cables obtained by WikiLeaks. UK training Bangladesh death squad. British officials in Bangladesh have confirmed WikiLeaks reports that the UK is training a police force in the country accused of being a death squad. UK agreed to shield U.S. interests in Iraq probe. WikiLeaks. Pope refused to cooperate in sex abuse investigation. WikiLeaks open and shut the case of the Honduran coup. WikiLeaks, China behind Google hack. WikiLeaks cables, U.S. Special Forces working inside Pakistan. U.S. Embassy cables reveal elite American troops secretly embedded with Pakistan military to hunt down militants. WikiLeaks reveals the obvious dangers of Afghanistan. The tens of thousands of classified military documents posted on the internet Sunday confirm what critics of the war in Afghanistan already knew or suspected. We are wading deeper into a long-running, morally ambiguous conflict that has virtually no chance of ending well. What's so amazing about that? That could literally be written today. 2 years from now, we'll be in Afghanistan for 20 years. But no, we can't have Medicare for all. Afghanistan war logs. Massive leak of secret files exposes truth of occupation. Hundreds of civilians killed by coalition troops. Covert unit hunts leaders for kill or capture. Steep rise in Taliban bomb attacks on NATO. A huge cache of secret U.S. military files today provides a devastating portrait of the failing war in Afghanistan, revealing how coalition forces have killed hundreds of civilians in unreported incidents. Taliban attacks have soared, and NATO commanders fear neighboring Pakistan and Iran are fueling the insurgency. Those are just some of the truths that led WikiLeaks, and whoever the leaker is, to sacrifice their own interests in order to disclose these secrets to the world. Obviously, the leaker came to be Chelsea Manning. So I decided to not read you the indictment first because I think it's important to set the scene for how what Julian Assange has been fighting against for his whole adult life, the deep state and the imperialist faction that is the United States, the United Corporations of America, as I call it, it's trickling down into even little smaller forms where Google and YouTube and Twitter and Facebook are all drowning out different voices that aren't cushy for their corporate interests, aren't cushy for their friends in the government. When you have Facebook working with literally government agencies, when you have Facebook working with right-wing outlets like the Weekly Standard to fact check, when you have YouTube basically demonetizing and taking away people's ability to earn a living based on if a video is slightly anti-war, slightly critical of corporate greed, slightly critical of police brutality, slightly critical of anything that rich people embrace. It's a shame and a slippery slope because first it's Julian Assange, but then it's going to go down to people under Julian Assange. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.